The women of the WNBA, I mean, they're driving me bat blank crazy because, well, they won't shut up. It's like drama after drama, and I guess it's smart. I don't know. The latest, Sheryl Swoopes, who seems to be the village idiot and keeps talking and talking, and I didn't even know Sheryl Swoopes still existed until, she started talking and talking and talking negatively about Caitlin Clark. Well, she says nobody on the Fever want to play with Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I got two words for you. My ass. If you don't want to play with Caitlin Clark, guess what? You're not going to be on the Fever very long. You better be pretty good that somebody else picks you up. New president of the Fever, Kelly Kasparov, who is one of the great ladies in sports. She is. She seems to, and I don't think she did here, but it seems to be she threw a little bit of shade at Sheryl Swoopes. Sheryl Swoopes, the accusation after the WNBA icon, Sheryl Swoopes, suggested nobody wants to play with Caitlin Clark. Kelly Kasparov, her remarks directly oppose what Sheryl Swoopes said just last month when she hinted at a potential divide in the locker room, which many took to mean they would have trouble convincing free agents to come to Indiana to play with Clark. There's a lot of other S going on that other Fever players are like, hey, this ain't where I want to be, Swoopes said. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't think this is where I want to be this year. Really? Okay, Sheryl Swoopes. Well, here's Kelly Kasparov talking about that.
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position. And I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her. She, much like Tyrese Halliburton, she gets you the ball in places that you didn't even know you were open because she passes to space, she finds openings and ways to free up other players. So, I look at just really how her and Kelsey work together and the efficiency of the offense because of the way that she plays the game.
Yeah. The problem is that we're learning that Fever little girls don't see it that easily. These young women don't see anything easily. I mean, everything in the world of women's basketball seems to be difficult. Accepting a white, straight woman has been incredibly difficult. Getting beat by a white, straight woman, having fans show up in your arena in 22 Fever, 22 Iowa jerseys of a white, straight woman seem to have made even the white lesbians angry. Certainly the African-American lesbians are angry, but I digress. When people get angry, and what did my wife tell you? Or what did she tell me that I put on to you? She told us women in sports don't want to see other women in sports succeed. Now, Sheryl Swoopes certainly is number one on that hit parade. She doesn't want to see Caitlin Clark succeed. She has couched it by becoming, I guess, a sort of mentor to the angry women of the WNBA, the Angel Reeses of the WNBA, the Kennedy Carter of the WNBA, the Mustard Carrington of the WNBA. She's become a de facto advisor, mentor, and good for women. They need mentors. Dudes, I don't know. Maybe we need mentors. I really haven't had a mentor, but I ain't mad at having one. If somebody wants to take all this on at 62 years old, I'm down to clown. But anyway, so now it's couched as being a mentor. So that her words actually have meaning. People go, well, she's close to a lot of the African-American women, so she probably knows what's going on with Aaliyah Boston in the Fever locker room. But I will say this. If somebody that plays women's basketball and is not a point guard doesn't want to play with Caitlin Clark, then you're a damn fool. No, I'm going to say it again, then you're a damn fool. And believe me, what we have seen in the WNBA is there are a lot of damn fools. Girl, you a fool. If you play on the wing or you are a post person and you run the floor or you post up, you must want to play with Caitlin Clark. You must. Now, if you're a drama queen, if you're somebody that is about you, you're not going to win anyway, and you don't want to play with Caitlin Clark. It's amazing. It really is. Look, everybody seems to go through this, except for Isaiah and Larry Bird. Magic Johnson went through this when he came to the Lakers. what's his face? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with Salt. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't understand being happy. Game 1. I think it was Butch Lee hit a shot. Magic, Kareem win. Magic losing his mind, jumping all over Kareem, and Kareem very sullenly, we got 81 more of these. Okay there, champ. I mean, if you're somebody that's really into your craft, and let's be honest, it's not like you're a woodworker or a glass blower in terms of crafts. You play basketball, you put a ball through a hoop. It ain't rocket science, people, or the people doing it wouldn't be doing it. Elon Musk would be doing it. So at the end of the day, if you're one of those people that are privately saying to Sheryl Swoopes, I got to get out of here, get out. If you're one of those people that wants to have a long career and play in front of the biggest crowds with the most attention, which is what most of us wanted to do, then you got to sign up and play for OCC. Get on the train. Enjoy the ride. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin Clark will be, for a while now, the face of the WNBA. Period. I mean, it's not like she's going away anytime soon. It's not like she's 30 years old, bounced around, figured it out. This woman is the woman. I hate to say it that way, until the next woman, Juju Watkins, comes up, who, by the way, just signed a massive Nike deal extension. She's a sophomore at Southern Cal, and she's terrific. I wonder if the women, Asia Wilson, of the WNBA are going to do what Asia Wilson did when the white girl, the straight white girl, got a Nike deal. Bitch, whine, and moan. I just saw Juju Watkins, big contract. Last time there was a big Nike contract that didn't go to Asia Wilson, she bitch, whined, and moaned. So are we going to get to see that here? You know we're not. You know we're not. Because the racism that goes on in the WNBA has been exposed. And I will tell you one reason that, well, the players of the past, maybe not now, but in the past, wouldn't have wanted to play with Caitlin Clark. The reason the Sheryl Swoopes of the world put this out is because, well, racism and sexism has permeated women's basketball, not just at the WNBA level, but at the college level as well. The lesbian thing in college basketball, volleyball, and softball, not much volleyball, more basketball and softball, has been an inside awful experience for a lot of straight women. Because what happens is the lesbian crew, this is all from my wife who coached this for years, they try to recruit you. They try to intimidate you. They try to not make you feel part of the team if you don't join their little lesbian cult. It's the worst thing going on right now. Now, if this were in the dude sport, the NCAA administrators, athletic directors would jump in a second. If you had the awfulness, the pressure that is put on young women when they go play college softball or college basketball to join the lesbian cult. My wife tells a story of being a little freshman, and a couple of the straight girls said, yeah, we're going to this party, but you stay with us because these older lesbians are going to try to recruit you. My neighbor 2 doors down quit an Ivy League basketball team. She loved basketball because of all the pressure. This has been going on for years and years and years. And now it's getting a little bit exposed, at least in the WNBA. And that's all this is. This isn't about anybody not wanting to play with Caitlin Clark that's a real basketball player. This is that whole lesbian power thing. The whole racist, we can't stand this little white girl. That's all it is. You say whatever you want. Everybody knows it. Hell, Charles Barkley's talked about it. Everybody that has sense has talked about it. Everybody that's fronting hasn't. But anyway, stay tuned because it only gets nastier and nastier and nastier. The Michigan football program, headed by Sharon Moore, does not seem to be the most buttoned-up organization. The team on the field has looked one-dimensional. They got to run the ball. They cannot pass the ball. Well, they got a walk-on quarterback, which is a great story. But here's the deal. I'd rather have the number one quarterback in the country playing for me than a walk-on. Like, everybody wants that tough, gritty guy. I want the stud. Anyway, I digress. Now there's a video of the team's director of high school relations, some clown named Chris Bryant. No, not that Chris Bryant that led the Cubs to the World Series in 2016. Chris with a C. Chris Bryant is, well, he's a low-level staffer. He is in charge of high school relations. All right, Chris Bryant. Next thing you know, Chris will be the weight coach at the local high school. I'm sure he's a former player somewhere that made his bones being a tough guy. So Chris didn't like that Washington fans were taunting the beloved and bewildered and befuddled Michigan Wolverines. So here's Chris, the head of high school relations, a coach, if you were, an administrator maybe, taking it upon himself to go intimidate guys. Here's Chris Bryant.
Like, why am I in the red? Like, they were Sterling. Whatever you guys don't know, you better chill the when you get like that. Hey, we're good. We're good.
No, there is no we're good. Hey, Chris Bryant, F you. Come on in the stands. Let's see how that goes for you. I know we're good. Now, you know what's going to happen. Close your eyes, count to 3. Chris Bryant's going to say, well, you know, they were yelling racist stuff. Oh, okay. You know that's coming. I mean, that's the All-American out. Chris Bryant is a jackass. I mean, I guarantee, I got to look him up. I guarantee you he played football somewhere, and now as the director of high school relations, probably couldn't get a job anywhere, probably has a long-standing relationship with what's-his-face, with Sharon Moore, but he's paid to act like an asshole to people that are there cheering a game. But you know what's coming. You know. You absolutely know what is happening here. You do. I'm just telling you. But there's a little bit more. It's an unfortunate situation. You better chill the F out before you get F'd up. We have become aware of an interaction between Washington fans who were harassing our players by using over-the-top and offensive language. It's an unfortunate situation and should not have happened. Our staff members should have asked stadium staff to handle it. Well, that's right. But Chris Bryant is an idiot. I mean, he's an idiot. I mean, he's just stupid. So he's going to end up, he'll end up being a high school weight coach. He's been on staff since 15 with an intern. He has walked up the ladder and was named director of high school relations. Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, good. How is Chris Bryant? Now, let me ask you this question. I'm looking up, how is Chris Bryant going to F people up? I mean, what's he going to really do? Is he going to climb and end his career by climbing into the stands? Is that what he's going to do? Okay, you go. Chris Bryant will remain on the staff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a tough guy. I mean, he is a real tough guy. I mean, Michigan's a mess. It's sad, too. I put a lot of money into Michigan. I'm not surprised some idiot that has a job as the high school relations guy. That's one step up from being the junior high weight coach. But I'm not surprised at that. And I'm not surprised Michigan keeps him. Michigan encourages stupidity. Michigan wants dumbassery. Michigan wants guys that are going to threaten some little white dudes in the stands because they used offensive language. Hey, you suck. Offensive. Racist. We're 1 year away from Chris Bryant. We're probably 8 months away from Chris Bryant quietly going and doing his calling. Junior high strength coach. Or, man, I'm helping out at a gym. Okay. Yay, Rod. Go fight, win. Man, I think it's 23-19. I think this is right. 23-19. I think it's 23 sexual assault cases Deshaun Watson has settled during his time in Cleveland, and 19 is the number of touchdown passes he's thrown. I could be wrong about that, but it's close. So Deshaun Watson, he of the Cleveland Browns, who, well, hasn't been very good, has reached a settlement agreement over his latest sexual assault allegation. And that move may be able for him to keep $230 million, or you could look at it the other way. It may prevent the Cleveland Browns from having to pay Deshaun Watson $230 million. How about that? How about that? Tony Busby, here it is. In an email statement of Sportico, Jane Doe, her attorney Tony Busby, who's handling all this, and he's handling a lot of P. Diddy's accusers too, this is awesome, confirmed the settlement and that its terms are confidential. Watson is presumably paying Doe a lot of money. He may be safeguarding his $230 million guaranteed contract with the Browns from a potential forfeiture effort by the team. The confidential aspect of the settlement almost certainly means Doe will not agree to participate in discussions with the NFL or the Browns regarding her allegations against Watson. Typically, a statement contractually bars the parties from speaking with others about the matter, NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Settlement also means that Busby, who last month told ESPN he planned to share with the NFL a video and implicating statements from other witnesses, is unlikely to facilitate any continued league or team investigation into Watson. Well, that's good news for Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson has morphed from America's quarterback to America's dirtbag quarterback. And you know what? I believe this. I believe had Deshaun Watson played well, nobody would care. No, I do. I think the NFL might care. I think the accused might care. But I don't think the general public or the accusing might care. I think the general public wouldn't care. I do. I just think that's the way sports has morphed. It's like we nod our head, get angry, and then it's like, all right, what's the next thing we're going to talk about? I do. But Watson has completed 60% of his passes, 852, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, sacked 26 times. Now, that's all well and good. That's fine. 21 quarterback rating. Last amongst all starting quarterbacks. Now, Bryce Young probably would have been below him, but you know, he's also got a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed contract. Now, here's the deal. If he were playing well, and these numbers, you can look at these numbers and go, yeah, okay. Yeah, he'll get better. No. This is who he's been since he's been to Cleveland. Like, this is not an aberration. Last year, Kevin Stefanski took the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs with guess who? Joe Flacco, not Deshaun Watson. See, people are on Stefanski, and I got straightened out by El Presidente, Sean Black, our Cleveland correspondent on all of my shows. He said, look, we're all happy with Stefanski. Bad year so far, but this dude has taken a mess that was created by Jimmy Haslam, the owner, and facilitated by Deshaun Watson, the awful quarterback, and taking it to the playoffs. So there's no problem with the fans with Stefanski. The problem you have now is performance of Watson. That's the problem Watson has. We all know that if he goes on a 4-touchdown, no interception, 368-yard, 28-0 win next time out, people will be cheering Deshaun Watson. We all understand if he does that for 6-7 weeks, maybe gets back to playing like the Deshaun Watson of way old, people will be cheering him. That's the way the world works, right or wrong. It'll always be in the background, but the more he wins, the more it pushes into the background. The more he plays like he's played, the more it props up. I don't like it, but we all know that's the way that it is. So before anybody loses their mind, absolutely loses their mind on Deshaun Watson, understand this. The general public don't care about nothing when it comes to the NFL but winning. Now, here in Indianapolis, somehow, some way, we care about cap space and draft picks. Real NFL fans care about winning, losing, performance, period. That's all. Man, former Alabama running back Damian Harris is pissed off with current defensive back and captain Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore acted like a spoiled little punk the other day after Moore had a series of blow-ups during the Crimson Tide's humiliating defeat to the Vanderbilt Commodores, claiming Nick Saban and other leaders on his team would never have allowed that, as he proceeded to flame Caleb DeBoer's handling of the situation. Before we listen to this Damian Harris, remember, Jamison Williams, after famously the wide receiver, after losing at Tennessee, just smacked the girl, just smacked the co-ed for no reason. So don't act like all you Alabama clowns, Damian Harris, and all you goofs that played under Nick Saban were perfect. Don't even try it. What did Saban do about it? Not a damn thing. Zero, zip, nada, nothing. But all of a sudden, because Saban's gone, Damian Harris and others act like old St. Nick would have ran the roughshod on him. Jamison slapped the girl, played the next week. Don't even start, but let's listen to this guy, Damian Harris.
Number 13, Malachi Moore. Now, brother, I don't know you, but I'm not trying to disrespect you. But what you did last night on that football field was complete and utter bullshit. You are a two-time captain, somebody who has your hand and footprint at Denny Chimes. Well, how did you show up yesterday? The only thing I remember seeing from you is slamming the guy's head on the ground unnecessarily, punching yourself, throwing your mouthpiece, kicking a foot in front, like not even in a way of like, okay, nobody's looking. Like, I'm bigger than the game. I'm bigger than the team. I'm bigger than this moment. Hey, everybody look at me. Look at how pissed off I am. Look at what I got to say about it. Let me pick up a ridiculous 15-yard penalty for literally no apparent reason. And you call yourself a two-time captain? I can tell y'all what would have happened in the days that I was there. We would have tried to rip the C off of his jersey. We would have lit him up. From every coach, every player, Reuben Foster, Minka Fitzpatrick, Deron Payne, Jalen Hurts, Jerry Jeudy. Everybody would have been on this dude's head. Like, what? Like, we don't do that. What's up with that? If we go out there and we get beat, we're going to handle all of our issues internally. But no guy is bigger and above this program. So you don't get to act like that. But I'm going to tell y'all exactly why he feels like he can't act like that. Is you go and you look at what Kalen DeBoer said in his post-game press conference about Malachi Moore. Oh, well, he's one of our guys and he's one of our leaders. And yeah, we expect him to use this and only bring positivity for the rest of the season. Man, damn that. What's up with that? Nick Saban would have said that? No, that's bullshit. That don't help you win games. That does not help you control the talent and the level of guys that you've never coached before, guys that you've never had experience with at a program that you don't have. You don't know what it takes to win these kind of games. And you just come in here trying to be everybody's buddy. You try to be everybody's friend. Well, what does that get you? That gets you beat against Vandy on the road. That pisses me off because
Wow, and by the way, I misspoke. It was Jermaine Burton, not Jamison Williams. I apologize for that error that slapped a girl at Tennessee. But, man, Damian Harris, you can win with Damian Harris. No, you can big-time win with Damian Harris. That's pretty strong. Now, I don't know whether Nick Saban would have done that, and I don't know whether Caleb DeBoer. That seems like there's some deep-seated stuff there with Harris against DeBoer and the way DeBoer's handling the program. Now, remember, here's also what has happened, and this is what I've tried to talk about at Indiana forever and ever and ever. Indiana basketball. Indiana basketball's got all the bullshit. And it sounds like that's what Damian Harris is saying. And somebody hit me with this, said, all of a sudden Caleb DeBoer is allowing guys to do podcasts, do a bunch of different things, dancing, all that kind of crap that Saban never allowed. And I get it. The new coach coming in, what the hell does he know? He's trying to figure it all out. But the truth of the matter is long-term is what Caleb DeBoer is there for. He's not really there for the short term. Now, in the short term, he lost to Vandy. He's got to, as Matt Painter said at Purdue when they lost to the 16th seed, he's got to sit in it till you get to play next. And you're always going to have critics when you lose. But I will say this. What I heard out of Harris is a little bit of angst in terms of how the program is run. The program is run looser than what Saban was there. And again, I've always said this. I have always said players want discipline. We all do. Hey, I like when Aaron or Gary calls me and tells me when I did something good, and I like it when they tell me when I did something wrong. We all want to have somebody lead us and guide us. I don't care who you are. I don't. And Damian Harris, that was really interesting because he calls out the kid, the pain in the ass, and then he calls out the coach, and then he calls out the program. and how it's ran by the coach. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Because I'm telling you, it is hard to win. And I've seen this, I've seen it, and I've seen it. I saw it at Bowling Green when I left. People look at my record and say, well, your last few years, you suck. Yeah, we did. Because I had everybody injured. I had my 4 starters out basically the entire year. But when the new coach came there, Louis Orr, he said, man, this is a perfect program. Everybody goes to class. Everybody's on time. Everybody works their ass off. He won the league 2 years later, as I told him he would. And then he let that all go, loosened it up, fired within 2 years after that. Mike Davis at Indiana. Man, Bobby Knight ran this thing too hard. He was too tough, blah, 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 blah. Well, Davis and the team, the leadership, kept that going. Couple years. They get to the Final Four, championship game. Couple years after that, Mike Davis is gone. I'm just telling you, it is easier to loosen up than it is to tighten up in coaching. I could do a whole coach's show on this. I could do a clinic on this. And you're seeing it with DeBoer. You lose to Vandy. I've seen it with the Colts. Hell, the Colts got rid of Mr. Mean, Ryan Grigson. Everybody was happy. Pat McAfee was happy. Everybody was like, hey, the big meanie's gone. Man, they bring in this Ballard guy. Colts never had a losing season under Mr. Meanie Grigson. This guy's 47, 55, and 1 in 8 years. Haven't won a bad division. You see it all. How has Florida football done since Urban Meyer and his insane toughness has left? You tell me. Oh. Anyway, I'm just telling you. Excuse me. Angry bettors. Angry bettors. This is interesting. Angry bettors are starting to abuse NCAA athletes. Boy, did I see this coming. We've talked about it on this show. That's why we don't have an overreaction Monday, because we pretty much tell you on this show what's going to happen. Man, oh man. Abuse by angry sports bettors, listen to this, is one of the most common types of harassment college athletes receive, making up at least 12% of publicly posted social media abuse, according to a new analysis conducted on behalf of the NCAA. This is easy. This is so easy. The NCAA partnered with data science company Signify Group, which analyzed social media accounts for more than 3,000 college athletes, approximately 500 coaches, 200 event officials, 165 teams, during the 2024 college football playoff men's and women's basketball tournament, men's and women's college World Series, and volleyball and gymnastics championship. The study defined angry sports bettors as individuals who engage in problematic and intrusive communication due to match events and results contradicting bettors' predictions. Athletes received abusive messages before, after, and during events. The survey listed sexual abuse, racism, homophobia as among other common harassment categories. The analysis flagged 743 abusive or threatening messages referencing betting or match-fixing allegations. 73% of them occurred during March Madness. No kidding. It's the most popular event with American bettors. Women athletes received approximately 59% more abusive messages than men, the analysis found. Look, this is sad, but it's just the way it is. I mean, it really is. It's just simply the way it is. There isn't anything you're going to do about it either. I mean, there just isn't. You know, you open this whole thing up, you open up the world to betting, you open up social media, you know, every single team that I have seen, when you go to their roster, puts out the social media address, I guess, profile of their players. What does that do? Well, probably makes them more popular, gives them a bigger voice, gives them a stage, gives them a platform, but it also gives access. Access that was never given before. Yeah, people could access you on college campuses in the early 2000s, before Facebook took off, before Twitter, before anything. Sure, they could see you on a college campus walking to class, or they could see you in a building, they could see you on campus, they could see you in a bar, wherever. But they couldn't interact with you on a daily. They couldn't interact you and them, which is exactly what social media is. When somebody sends an abusive text, tweet, whatever, X, I don't know what you call it now, I call it a tweet, or an Instagram post or a Facebook message. It's you to them. It is. They read it. Now, the simple thing is to say get off social media, which is, well, almost impossible. And speaking as someone who is somewhat addicted to social media, which I am, which is embarrassing for a 62-year-old, I will stand up and say it's almost impossible. But this is the can of worms that has been opened. And now you add the entitlement of paying players a lot of money. And now you've got a real problem. Now you've got something that you cannot control. You're paying players a lot of money. That gives the idiots out there carte blanche to criticize you. Think about everything you hear about college sports, everything you hear about reforming college sports. Any argument always goes back to, well, the coaches are making a ton of money. Every argument. Well, the coaches are doing, well, now the players are doing the same as the coaches. So they're opening themselves. And then the gambling aspect, and I always use this because it was stark when it hit me. A couple summers ago, and actually I do it every summer, we go to Indiana Grant Racing and Casino here. Horseshoe Racing and Casino here in Indy, I'm sorry. And we do a check presentation. They're nice enough to give our foundation $10,000 for Bikes for Kids, for our golf outing. And we do it at the start-finish line, and my wife or whoever goes with us, my daughter, my son, whoever, we stand there at the start-finish line. And one of the interesting things, fun things, is when the horses come to the start, at the end, the finish line, not the start-finish line, the finish line, it's interesting the power of the horses. I mean, they're coming. It's cool. But then as they finish, go on down, they circle back. The winner comes to the winner's circle where we are. And the guys that come in second, third, and fourth, they go back to the paddock, but they got to go in front of the people on the rail. And, man, do those jockeys catch hell, and it hit me. Oh, this is going to be bad for college athletes. This is going to be awful. Well, it is. And I honestly don't think there's any controlling it. I don't think you can control it. People can talk about it. You can do studies about it. But what are you going to do about it? I mean, what are you going to do about it? And then, athletes are so much out there. Come visit me at Jimmy Joe's barbecue. Come see me at Uncle Sal's farmhouse, whatever. Well, you got a disgruntled gambler that comes to see you. It ain't always good. And that's just the idiots. That's just the local yokels. That's just the players that play on their own. What happens when syndicates, organizations, not the mob gets involved? Then you got a real problem.